Did you guys know I'm vegan? If not, you do now. Um, yeah, I've recently got into a sort of heated discussion on Blue Sky, and I don't think it was actually heated. It was, honestly, it's kind of cold because fucking hell. I swear this guy was a troll because we're both using two different definitions of discrimination, and I pointed out that this sounds stupid from my side because it just sounds like you're trying to make racism sort of less racist by using a different definition of discrimination. Ugh, it's fucking disgusting, but anyway, the topic I've got actually is related to this, and I pointed out in the post itself, and I only make these when I feel like something really important or something you to add to the discussion. And yeah, like again, I haven't been proven wrong about this, and it's not many people are willing to essentially change their opinion on something, and I am. And unlike other people, I will change my opinion of something. I used to be transphobic, I used to be homophobic, and um, I used to actually be religious once as a child and sort of as a young adult. And there are many things I was wrong about. I used to think that maybe God could be explained through everything around us, and I realised through listening to debates and hearing all about like space and stuff and nature, things just didn't add up. And it's a sort of similar thing happened with veganism in a sense. And to briefly sum it up, I was vegan in 2016 and then I stopped because I got horny. I wanted to impress a girl. And from there I just sort of gave it up, and I was stupid for doing that, and I do regret it obviously. Then in 2020, or just before that actually, in Christmas 2019, I was stuffing my face with chocolate, getting sick, remembered that cows go through far worse things, and it just made me realise, oh, I shouldn't be complaining. Well, if I got sick of eating too much fucking food, then I'm just a fucking glutton, and even then, animals go through far worse things. So I should stop feeling sorry for myself, stop feeling sorry for animals, and that's how it sort of came along. And to sort of reinforce that point, I did do some research. I looked at debates and tried to understand, like, is there more to ethics that I'm missing? And usually it's these doubts that help form an opinion anyway. You know, when people talk about, say, LGBTQ plus, or even something that we've already established like race, and I forgot how you say it, like, you know, people discriminate against race for really stupid reasons. And usually it's because of like crime and stuff, and essentially the thing that refutes that is that the way people treat them to begin with is why they end up in crime anyway. So it's like you can't blame them because you're the ones doing it. It's like a no-brainer as well. So no, there's nothing wrong with any person of colour or any ethnicity for that matter. There's all these preconceptions that you have that have to be substantiated by demonstrable evidence, and I've actually been going off that sort of reasoning for quite a long time now, and it's proven pretty accurate. I see it with other topics like anti-vax and what is that, like, obviously like COVID stuff. And the only way you can prove something is through demonstrable evidence, because no one's done that for, say, anti-vax or anti-COVID, whatever they call it. It's not been proven anyway. It's like you need to demonstrate it consistently at a high rate at least. And even then, like, if it's mixed, then it's really anyone's decision. But if it's like overwhelmingly on one side of the argument, then it's true. And that should be what people are striving for, essentially. Should be striving for truth, not these fucking ideas, not sort of false arguments or whatever. But yeah, like with veganism as well, it applies here quite well. Um, I've been vegan for 5 years, and I haven't had many health issues. But I think the health issues I've had are purely mental health related. They're not related to diet or lifestyle. As far as I know, anyway, it's never really caused me misery being vegan. Dealing with other people can, but that's not a result of veganism. It's just like an extension. So, like, yeah, you can get depressed when you see the state of the world. You have to try and help yourself in that sense, because there's not really any sort of treatment for that, as far as I know. And the way I've got around it is essentially putting ego before trying anything else. Like when I debate someone, I'll see someone do something stupid like a chicken nugget challenge, which always fucking annoys me. You have to think that you're better than them because you're not doing something so shitty. Something that, in the face of history, in probably like grandchildren's history, would not look so fucking. God, it's gone out of my mind. Distracted. Especially in the face of history, it looks disgusting. And yeah, you need to lead by example. Essentially, if evidence comes up that the things we're doing are horrific and don't need to happen, then we need to do something about that. And that's essentially why I'm still vegan. But there's other things too, and this is the point I was sort of getting around to, as per the blue sky debate, if you could even call it that. Honestly, it just felt like I was talking to an AI. Yeah, like the reason I've named this like all the vegan is okay is because I think there is literally something to be said about the people who fall for this bullshit. You know, it's like Reddit's where you get banned for expressing an opinion that differentiates. You know, and I've seen like even in like a subreddit like all such autism, which generally is like changing moods every single day, for better and for worse. And you see that post about how people have been mistreated in other subreddits. And I remember one recently where there's like someone learning to be goth, and I have no problem with that myself. I'm sure some people will, but that has to be justified, and you have to have a very good reason to feel that way. Because like hatred just generally isn't an excuse anymore. It doesn't work. But yeah, there's a post saying that they were mistreated on a subreddit and called like a faker and a poser, which just doesn't make sense. Like, if you want to learn how to be goth, you have to start somewhere. You don't do it by essentially becoming one day. Like one morning you're up in your white dress or whatever, white clothes. Next day, black makeup. Maybe like do it like South Park. Just black everything. I don't know, South Park game's weird, but it's because it has a funny representation of people, really. I got to try watching that again at some point. They actually had a funny representation of vegans, and I find it funny because what the fuck is with my desk? Clicking. Yeah, that representation of vegans was quite funny. It wasn't mocking, it was just more like, oh, haha, this is our idea of one. The same with like gingers and having no soul. I remember that as a kid. It's just funny. It was like a life-saving jacket or something. Yeah, like still, after all these years with vegan debates, nobody can refute my point, and like, it leads me to wonder, like, is there anything I could do to sort of force a push, like a eureka moment, in that someone can convince me not to be vegan anymore. And I guess it sort of says the title really. I'll leave vegans okay, I'm gonna make it now, thumbnail. Yeah, like literally. Um, if someone can prove me wrong on this point, then fuck it, I'll eat a steak or whatever, something meaty from an animal. But nobody is able to, and that's why I'm not doing it. Until someone does, they won't see it. So the premise is this, or the argument, or whatever you call it. So the argument is, how do you justify the exploitation and abuse of conscious intelligent beings, same as us? And you can't really respond to this with taste or, for example, survival, because there are exceptions to the rule, and we admit that this is selfish of us. Like, yeah, if you're stranded with a pig on an island with no vegetation that's edible, then sure, like, it's whoever wins. It's either you or the pig who dies. But I got distracted there. You can't justify it with basically using them as animal products or survival, because we're in the information era of the world at the moment, and as far as I know, it's still developing. It's been developing for the past 100, 200 years maybe, ever since telecommunications been invented. Because we used to rely on horses and messages and stuff and ships to even pass information, but when it's so accessible and it's something that's new, it's going to take a while to adjust to, and it's probably not even within the span of our grandchildren's grandchildren. I think it'll be relatively new, assuming they even get that far, because who knows, Earth might not even survive that long. But yeah, the point of the argument is you can't justify it with taste, because you'd have to justify the same thing for us. Like, we're talking about conscious intelligent beings, which we are in the category of. Even if we only had one of those traits, it's the same thing. And you can't justify one thing without applying it to the other. That's not how it works. And again, like, nobody can also prove me wrong on that. That's one of the other crazy things. Like, you literally can't, and I've even tried to do it myself just by trying to steel man the entire argument. And it's essentially something you can't do. And I've even thought about something like being a more intelligent being as like the differentiation. And it still doesn't work just because you have to justify exploitation. You're an intelligent being, you're aware these things happen. How do you justify the exploitation of those traits, essentially? Because if we replace it with animal, people immediately think of other things. If you put conscious, intelligent beings, then you'll have to think more. And that's generally a good thing, even for argument's sake, even hypothetically. And yeah, like, it's so hard to argue against even like some of the most intelligent people I've known over the years. They haven't been able to refute it. And that's sort of why I'm making this as well. I haven't done activism in a while, other than a music video I did for my other channel for a band thing that I'm doing. It's a fictional band, sort of. I made a serious music video about exploitation of animals and stuff, and I essentially called it Where Morality Dies, because in pretty much all moral worldviews, the one point that you can't refute is exploitation and pain. And yeah, like when you try to define it as well, it's really hard to sort of justify against something else, and especially without looking bad. And all the arguments sort of fall apart in that sense, especially when it comes to animals as we know them. But yeah, it's a difficult topic. And as I said, the reward would be essentially me going out and ordering meat. But even then, it would only be a one-off, because we can't also ignore the fact that you need to just scrap meat anyway, scrap animal products for environmental and health concerns. You know, especially in my case as well, like, I'm a fat fuck. 135 kilograms I am now. I used to be like 110, 115. And yeah, like, I definitely shouldn't add meat to my diet at all. So if anything, this is like sort of a way to remove myself from the planet. A risk of anyway. But yeah, that's really the entire argument there. So to repeat that, how to justify the exploitation and abuse of conscious intelligent beings the same as us. And you can't justify it without saying the same thing for humans, because we're the same. And you know, as I brought up with like racism and stuff, things don't look good in the face of history. The more you prolong something that's inherently violent or distasteful, the more harsh it will look in history, and the more like displeased people are with it. Like how we view people in like the slavery sort of era. Disgusted by how they practiced it, how they sort of had a superiority over slaves. It's fucking horrific. It's atrocity. And there's no ignoring that, and that's also one of the things that keeps me as a vegan. I don't have any like reasons to justify this. There's no reason to justify this atrocity that's happening to animals now. So yeah, so thanks for listening. See everyone in another video maybe. I felt like this was important to make in a sense. I haven't done one of these in a while. Probably seeing Final Fantasy 14 gameplay in the background. Yeah. See people in another video maybe. I don't do many discussions. It's just one of the few that I have done though. But I'm also interested in hearing if people have any responses. As I said, like, nobody's been able to respond to that, and like, this is from like a few years ago, admittedly, when I used to do more debates. I used to do them in text format when people joined a Discord server. And in general, like, people like my approach. I think I could be wrong. I've had people tell me it's decent. It's pretty level-headed and calm, similar to Earthling in that sense. But yeah.